Hello and welcome to Cool Schools on WSYR Plus. I'm Bob Driscoll. This is a show where we're going to talk about everything from fun things happening at schools to more important topics. Joining us today is Oneida Superintendent Matt Carpenter. The Oneida City School District was recently hit by some devastating floods from a weekend storm. Matt's going to talk to us about everything about the floods and what happens next at the school. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having me.
First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm starting my 5th year as superintendent in Oneida City Schools, also my 30th year in public education. I'm from upstate New York originally, from Oswego, and spent most of my career between Baltimore, Maryland, Syracuse City, Solvay, and then now Oneida, and happy to be here in upstate New York.
Now, I was out there that Sunday of the storms, and I was kind of on the north side by North Broad, and the damage down there with trees down and everything was pretty intense. But when you look at the high school, the flooding seems to have impacted that more than the wind damage. Can you tell us about the damage to the school and what it looks like in there?
Sure. So on the morning of the storm, we knew there was widespread power outage across the region, and I got a call from the high school principal, Mr. Gallagher, who told me that there was a report of some flooding at the building. So we got over there as quickly as we could on that Sunday morning, and there was extensive water across the parking lots, across the grounds, and spreading into the building. The first floor of the high school had water down the main corridor and affecting about 2 out of every 3 rooms, so between 10 and 15 rooms across that first floor. But the basement was where the real trouble was. We had over 5 feet of standing water in the basement, and that's where all of our electrical systems are, our boilers, and also storage for our building and for our district. So it was kind of all hands on deck, and it was a kind of a scary time to be there. We had maintenance as well as emergency management from Madison County, and we also had the fire department with lots of support out there that morning.
Was it just the high school damaged, or did any of the other schools get damaged during that storm?
So there was power outage across all 5 of our buildings. There was not extensive damage at our other buildings. We had a little bit of water, but nothing out of the ordinary. A couple of air conditioning units may have backed up with power outage and some water coming in, but no damage sustained really.
Now, water damage sometimes is kind of, I was saying at the beginning, is worse than wind damage, and it can cause a lot more issues. Do you see that's the case here with the Oneida High School?
Well, I'm certainly not an expert on the difference between those two, but I will say that the water damage is what we're facing now, 2 weeks later, and we're going to be facing for certainly for some time. All of our community, the trees and downed wires and things like that have been cleaned up, but our high school remains really quite damaged with the water. So I think to your point, the water damage was significantly more impacting.
I was kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, like when the storm hit that morning, a lot of the concentration was on the wind damage. There were several houses with trees down, the transformer in the street by the old North Broad building. How did you first find out about the damage to the high school?
Yeah, again, I think an alarm went off early in the morning, alerting our maintenance and custodial staff, who notified our high school principal, who called me. I got a call that morning about 7:30 in the morning from our high school principal, and as best we could get out of our own neighborhoods with downed trees, we all got there to try to assess the damage.
Now, the water can cause questions with mold, and some people may be concerned that even after you clean up the water, if you clean up the mud, there could be some lingering mold issues. Do you think that will be the case here, and what steps are you taking to make sure that kids are safe when they return?
Sure, that's a great question. I know it's a question that staff and parents and even kids are going to have. We've got a nationally certified and well-known company, ServPro, on hand doing the cleanup at the high school. They not only clean up water and mud, but they also treat and sanitize for any future indication of mold or anything else going on. Additionally, they'll test all the floors in the high school and all the walls and all the surfaces for moisture and ensure that we're good to go. Right now, we have a crew of sometimes as many as 50 workers there, making sure that the moisture and the water and the mess is cleaned out, and also they're just drying the air and all of the surfaces.
Now, there's damage specifically in the basement with feet of water, and that could impact things like the sewage pump and critical infrastructure. What's the status of all that down there?
Yeah, so right now, just this week, yesterday, ServPro got in to start doing deep cleaning in the basement because we've got the vast majority of the water out of the basement. But right now, we've also got an electric company in the basement, as well as mechanical engineers looking at boilers, looking at pumps, looking at all of our electric infrastructure, and it looks like widespread damage. Boilers generally can be taken apart, cleaned, and reused, but with regards to electrical panels, we're assessing that now. But it looks like there's going to be widespread replacement of those kind of facilities in the basement.
Are things like the sewage working? Like are bathrooms up and running? Is everything like that going to be okay, or is that going to still take some time?
It's going to be okay, but right now everything's still down. We still have power off to the building, and so it's a little bit early to tell. We have a weekly meeting every Wednesday with all of our architects, engineers, attorneys, and all of our contractors to look at what we're doing and what the plan is. So day by day, we're assessing that damage.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the damage to the classrooms? I saw some photos of crews in there cleaning up and moving desks and making sure the floors are good. Can you tell me which classroom specifically, what part of the building the classrooms were damaged and how bad that is?
Sure. So it's the academic wing, which is on the south side of the building, closest to the staff parking lot. All of those the majority of those classrooms got some water and mud onto the surfaces of the floors. There wasn't widespread damage to fixtures and electric and machinery in those classrooms, but any room that had either wood or tile flooring in it that had water, we have to look hard and make sure that the water is not inundated underneath the tile. And right now we've got 6 to 8 classrooms that have been completely demoed, the floors pulled up because there was water underneath those floors. So again, it's a day-by-day situation. But ServPro has turned over that first floor back to us just this week. So we can start to work with staff to get into the building. If they need belongings, they're going to be able to work with their principal to get into the building, as well as start the rebuilding process in those rooms for the fall.
How do other places in the building look? Like I thought I saw some photos from the auditorium. How is that doing?
Yeah, so just recently, about a year ago, we opened our brand new auditorium in the high school after our most recent capital project. The auditorium got some water, but it does not look like it sustained major damage. There was a little bit of water on the lower section of the auditorium, but again, that's going to be an area that's going to be sanitized and cleaned by ServPro and should be okay.
I know it's really early, and there's obviously a ton of work ahead and things to figure out. But is there any idea what a cost could be to fix all of this, or is that still being assessed?
It's absolutely still being assessed. We have a board meeting this evening where we're going to ask the board to approve an emergency fund for us to use in the event that this cleanup exceeds what our insurance coverage is, and most certainly it will exceed our insurance coverage. So it's probably going to be in the millions of dollars, but it's just too early to tell what that's going to be.
Where will that money come from? Is that something that, even if insurance covers, that's probably going to raise rates, right? Is that something that could be seen and felt by taxpayers?
Ultimately, we have insurance that's carried year to year. Rates fluctuate whether or not we have a disastrous event like this. And anything like a capital project, we work to limit the cost to our community. And in something like this, we're going to have to really work hard to see how we spread debt and how we extend debt across years so that we don't have a greater impact on the community. It's, again, early to tell, but we're working on that.
Now, you mentioned spreading debt over previous years. Is this something that maybe in future budgets next year or going forward, there's going to be a line on that budget that prepares for stuff like this, or will this event itself directly impact the next budget?
Well, one thing that the community should hear is that school districts are aided, by the state, and that's how we get a lot of our funding. And different than in our own households, our private households, carrying a certain amount of debt is a good thing for a school district in terms of getting aided. And there's always a level of debt that we carry from capital projects and from any improvements that we do. So it is something that we do year to year. But it's hard to tell how this is going to impact that just yet.
Now, I've been following on your social media and other social media. It looks like there are a lot of people involved in the cleanup effort right now, and they're doing a lot of hard work day and night. Can you tell me how many people involved in what they're doing?
Well, we have our entire maintenance and custodial crew, which is 20 or so members across our district, all pitching in everywhere they can. But also we have, as I mentioned earlier, ServPro on hand, and that's as many as 50 people on a day-to-day basis cleaning and working. And then also we have contracted electrical professionals, engineering, architects, everyone's on hand to support us, from everything down to fire and alarm systems to elevator systems, you name it, they're there supporting us.
No, it's been awfully hot, especially the past few days, and I know the building at one point was without power. Is there no air conditioning while they're in there working, or
So
has that been repaired?
the high school is still without power. We have to assess the electrical situation in the basement before it's turned on. So to answer your question, yeah, there's no air conditioning in the high school right now. I toured the building, both basement, first floor, and second floor yesterday, and it was reasonably comfortable. Not as nice as you'd like to be, but not scorching hot, because also there's no lights in the building right now, and there's not a lot of activity, and we've got large fans moving air throughout the building. So we're doing the best we can.
I saw just this week you posted about the IT team and the hard work that they're doing with the systems. How is the status of the IT in the building, and what's next there?
Yeah, so our IT team is a small team, about 4 people, but they have been working nonstop, and they often go overlooked because you don't think about them every time you pick up a phone or send an email, but they're there doing all of it. Right now, we have 5 buildings in our district, plus a transportation center, plus a district office. Everything but the high school is back up and running. So there's power at all of those locations. Internet is back up. Our systems are back up. We're just working on getting our phones back up across the district. But again, the high school remains out. So any community watching this, if you've been calling and not getting a response, we hope that you'll continue to be patient with us. And if there's questions, the best way to do it is sending an email or reaching out to us through Parent Square.
Are the phones really the only thing that needs to be fixed technically at this point?
Yeah, the bulk of our systems have been moved onto off of our servers that were at the high school and onto location at the Madison Oneida BOCES, and we're for the most part, the phones are the last remaining piece out there.
I want to move a little bit about to the community reaction. There's a lot of people that may be expressing concerns. We talked about the mold concern a little bit earlier. Yep. What are you hearing from students or staff about their concerns?
I got to tell you, Bob, it's been, by and large, it's been positive. When we shared as much as we could share with photos and any opportunities with the media or answering questions through emails, when people see the extent of the damage, I think people, by and large, our communities come together and they are working with us and being flexible and also being patient, knowing that we're trying to give as much information as we can. That's our greater student and staff and community, but also there's neighboring businesses. There's pizza shops and community organizations that have reached out. They've provided food for workers or volunteered. There's just been numerous and countless people that have reached out about, can they help clean furniture? Can they help secure a building? And we certainly appreciate all of that support, and we're taking them up when and where we can.
Now, you've been in contact with numerous fire departments, lawmakers, police departments, emergency services. How is everyone in the community stepping in to help Oneida?
Again, we had that storm on Sunday, 2 weeks ago. On Monday, we had state lawmaker Joe Griffo in our offices working with us and helping to push our supports to the state level in Albany, and that was responsive with statewide emergency management services providing pumps and special any kind of needs that we had. So any kind of push like that from our local agencies and our statewide agencies has been a big help. The Madison County Emergency Management Services has been a big partner with us, working with us on not only how we can apply for federal assistance, but also the day-to-day operations in the early stages of that storm. They were really helpful. And of course, the Oneida Police Department and local fire departments and Sheriff's Office, all right there the whole way through helping us.
Do you want to recognize anyone that specifically helped Oneida? I know you got some donations and stuff, right?
Yeah, so we had Artani's Pizza in the neighborhood. We did a story with them last week. They're a pizza shop in downtown on Main Street, and reached out and they wanted to support, and they donated 50% of their profits last weekend on a Saturday to the district, just towards flood cleanup, and that was a really great thing for our community to do. And I think also it shows that we've got a business owner in the community that recognizes that. And when talking with Justin, he talked about growing up in a neighboring city and knowing that it takes a whole community to help.
It's really great in times like this where you see the absolute best in communities, and the United community is certainly come together. And if people are looking to volunteer or give donations, is that something you still need? And if so, how can people help?
Sure. Any way that people have an idea to assist, they could send in an email or Parent Square to us if they have ideas or ways they can help, or any kind of donations. That way they could reach out through email to myself, to the superintendent, or to the district across Parent Square. Right now, we've got the manpower on hand, so there's not a lot of support we need from volunteers in and around the high school, because we do have professional contracting services there in the building. But any and all support we can get is greatly appreciated. And even moreover, I think the ongoing support of our community, of our staff out there in terms of on social media and supporting and really working to recognize that we're giving as much information as quickly as possible, and also that we should be slow to believe any and all rumors that we hear on social media, because there are rampant rumors going around.
All right, Superintendent Matt Carpenter of the United States School District, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's next for the school and what we could see come the new school year that's closing in. All right, welcome back to Cool Schools on WSYR Plus. I'm Bob Driscoll. We're joined today by Oneida Superintendent Matt Carpenter from the United States School District. We're talking about recent flooding that hit the school district. Now, Matt, is a graduate from 1999 of the Oneida High School. Me, my fellow alumni, and probably most importantly, kids in the school district and parents are wondering, so what now? What happens next? Is there any chance the school will not open on time when the new school year starts?
So, Bob, our number one goal is to get our building back open, our high school back open for the fall, for September start. We have, as I spoke about, we have our engineers, contractors, electricians, architects all working out there on a daily basis to work on that. But there's so many facets of this that we just don't know yet. We're just digging in on what kind of mechanical damages there are, as well as electrical. And again, our number one goal is that we would open for September 1st for the fall. We have no plans yet for an alternative site or anything of that. We haven't even explored those scenarios yet, because we're working with our number one goal to reopen in the fall.
Now, the new school year is going to be here before we know it. What will the school look like? Say it does open on time. Will there be anything different that's noticeable?
Yeah, so I think that most certainly, if we get all systems back up and running, it will be school as usual, with the one difference being that I don't know that rooms that have been floors taken out of, I don't know that we'll have replacement floors in there rather than just concrete floors. So I think that's one thing that we would see in several classrooms, as we build towards getting that building open and running.
Now, you mentioned that there's no thought right now that you wouldn't open in time, but that could change, right? Is that something that's in the back of your mind?
Sure, it's been there. As I mentioned earlier, we have Wednesday meetings with all those important professionals that we're working with, and that's got to be in the back of my mind, because I can't wait till the end of August or the beginning of September if we hear that the building wasn't able to reopen. Got to start thinking about a plan, but we're just not there yet, just 2 weeks out from the storm. So, I've got a weekly standing meeting with those folks, and we'll start to address that each week.
What options could there be in that case? I mean, could students be going to other schools? Could they be in different buildings? Is the old North Broad building even a possibility?
So North Broad is currently leased through BOCES, and that is filled with classrooms and with students. So BOCES does have that space used for the next number of years. To be honest, though, North Broad wouldn't be big enough to house our high school and all of its programs. But again, I'm very cautious here, as I don't want anyone to take one snippet of this and think that there's a plan for us to go virtual or for us to go to another school district. We're just not there yet. But there's three things here. We can reopen and be ready to go in the fall. We could look at a potential remote learning situation. We could look at finding other space in a neighboring district or community organization. But again, those last two are the last resorts. Our number one goal is to get reopened in the fall.
What are you telling teachers ahead of the fall? Like, how are they preparing their classes, their plan for teaching? Like, what is your message to them?
Yeah, so high school teachers have not been back in the building yet. So they don't have a message yet in terms of when they can get in. We're working closely with them. The first and second floor are just about ready for people to be back in if they have to retrieve personal belongings, but they aren't in setting up yet. We won't have any summer school sites there at the high school or by and large across the other buildings. So I'm sure that our staff are waiting, and they've been, to a member, supportive and reaching out and flexible, recognizing that we're doing the best we can with this.
Now, as a proud soccer player back in my day in high school many moons ago, sports practices started in August.
Yeah.
And kids worked all summer to train and get ready for that. I know they can practice outside and the gym's kind of on the other side of the building, but will summer practices for sports be impacted at all?
So we don't have a plan to slow or stop or postpone our summer practice schedule. In fact, our summer athletic camps that started just this week are up and running at either other schools or in the community. So we don't have any indication that we're going to stop those or slow those down.
Now, the theater, you said, sustained minor damage. Like, I also did drama club in high school, and I wasn't a good singer. So the fall play was my favorite thing, the fall act. Is the theater going to be ready for fall production?
Yeah, if the building is open and ready to go, which again is our goal, then the theater will be open and ready to go. So again, there was some minor water on the floors, a minor amount of water on the floors in the bottom of the auditorium, but by and large, been cleaned up and ready to go.
Now, the updates, you've been great about posting on Facebook, sending us press releases here at News Channel 9. What is the best way for people to get updates going along? Because I know people are craving to get information on stuff as it progresses. Yeah,
they should continue to follow our website and follow our Parent Square and any kind of news releases that we do on our social media. Once, our phone should be back up, so we'll be able to take calls and questions that the community might have. We're hoping to get to a weekly update, following my Wednesday meeting with our contractors, so that we can give the most up-to-date information to our community. But again, I do urge the community, to our parents, to our staff, to our students, to look to the announcements coming from the school district and not questions or statements that are rising on either social media websites or platforms of that nature that aren't put out by the district. We're giving as much information as we can, as quickly as we can, and we want to make sure that it's accurate.
Now, I've noticed on social media and in your press releases and everything, the words Oneida strong are floating around, and those words could not mean anything more sincere right now than we've seen the support from the community. What do those words mean to you? Yeah,
it's just, again, I think I've talked about it throughout the length of our time here today, is that we've got business owners and community members and officials and politicians and students and staff who are just there every day. When I see them out in the community or at the grocery store or the gas station, they're positive and they're thanking us for the work we're doing and offering support and help. And I think that everyone we're talking to recognizes the extent of the damage and the long haul we have ahead of us, and people are trying to come together to support the community.
Final message to the community, for the United community, and as we still got a few weeks to go before school, what do you want to say to everyone who may have concerns, may have questions, or anything else you want to address?
I want to just say that you've got a good school board in our community that's supportive and been on the daily calls with me and messages and texts, and our staff is working exceptionally hard. And just, I want everyone to recognize that our night and day is to get our district back open and ready to go. And we love Oneida City Schools and the community, and we want to make it the best for all of our students and staff.
All right, Oneida Superintendent Matt Carpenter addressing the recent flooding at the school and what's next for the school year. We'll be sure to keep you updated here on News Channel 9 and WSYR Plus as we get closer to the start of the school year. Superintendent, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Bob.
And remember, if you have something going on in your school you want us to talk about here on WSYR Plus and Cool Schools, you can always email me anytime, coolschools@localsyr.com.